Hi, thank you very much for watching our first two videos about how to write a research paper, where we discuss about the introduction section and the results section. Today we are going to talk about how to develop a methodology section of a research paper.
Yes, so we have started from introduction. So we have defined the background of our research. We have explained why we are doing this research. Also, we explained the benefits of installing solar panels, utilizing solar energy, and here we have written our objectives of this research, which could be refined, but it's in an initial stage of our paper.
Okay,
For result section, we have designed two tables and multiple maps. For these table, as we discussed in our last meeting, is describing us about the per molar potential value of each building, of each category of buildings. Like this is a building category, building categories. Like this is category one, from 1 to 5 molar.
okay,
And
yeah.
on the columns, on the first column, you can see that these fields are giving the value of per molar unit values.
So we have introduction, and which is divided into 3 to 4 paragraph of different themes. And then we have a results, which is divided into two major components. One is the results at the overall and the district level. The second set of the analysis or results is basically the distribution of those results at the union council level, as well as and the two sample sites we prepared to highlight those critical areas where you can see the variations in the solar potential across the building footprint level. So this is our kind of overview. I just want to go and see how many pages we have. Can you go to Zoom like this small size paper size, and so we can see how many pages we have so far? Yeah, there will be, and then use the multiple page. Yeah. So if you see in this section, we have, yeah, so we have few papers. Okay, let's go to start from the beginning of this first page. So as you guys know, the paper has generally the four major sections. The first one is an introduction, so which we have done the introduction. So the most important part of the introduction is the last paragraph. Could you please move to the last paragraph? Okay, and now we want to see what is the objective we have. Okay, so the objective, we have two objectives in this case. The first one is estimate the solar radiation using the tool. The second one is to identify the areas. In other words, we are narrow down the union consoles where the deployment of solar PV panels can be installed or can be prioritized. So these are the two major active results objectives. So we are going to discuss the results accordingly. So the first set of a result, could you please go back to the results? Yeah, go to the results section. So the results section is talking about the outcome of the estimates. So as a result, we have 1.29 million buildings, which is categorized by the different units. So the potential is converted into the electricity units. And the assumption we use in this case is the building footprint, total area of the building footprint is going to be converted into the or covered by the solar panels. So in case if it's convert, and those are the number of units we can get. Okay, so the second part of the results, if you go to the map where we have a union council map, so this result is basically giving the second part of the objective. So to narrow down the areas or union consoles. So in this case, if you see the legend, so there are two groups of legend. So second part of the legend is which is the greenish shade, yellow to green. So that areas are most probably we can prioritize it. So if we want to see the objectives, so and then you want to link with your results. So this is the most important thing you want to be established first. So when you're writing a paper, so you need to be go back to your introduction, especially what is you are going to be proposed or your main objectives, And then when the results you developed, you need to compare or align those results with respect to your objectives. So do you think, guys, now at this stage, before moving to the next stage, I want to be hear from you what you think about this alignment, the objectives we have and the results we have. Are you satisfied, or you think we need a little bit more information to justify our objectives? So could you please say something? I would say, like, Satar, you can start with it.
Yes, sir. If you see, sir, what were our objectives were, we have two objectives that we have to find the radiation value using the two areas of radiation. So if you just move from objective to objective, so for our first objective is fulfill till here part. Like these much these tables are giving us the values and also categorizing the areas. So our second objective was we have to identify the union council which can be prioritized for solar panel installation. So this map is totally supporting us and is fulfilling our objectives. So what I think is our objectives are totally fulfilled as till our result part.
Okay, so Abdullah, you have anything to say about these results and the objectives?
No, I think they look good. We have already discussed me, Star, and Seed. This was the final map.
Okay, so Yusuf, you are not going to be part of this paper as a co-author, but I would like to hear your opinion. So what you see, like how the way we are developing this one and talking about the alignment of the objectives with the results, what is your feedback or comment on that? This one.
Sir, the objective portion is only the last part of introduction. That part contains explain the objective of the whole research paper.
Yeah, yeah, that's the total.
So I have not clear idea, but did we explain why these objectives are prioritized in our research in the introduction part? Like the second portion is that we are going to find the places which are suitable for people to suitable for government to explain to prioritize
Yeah,
these locations. matlab, in a sense
yeah,
that
yeah.
we explain little bit.
I got your idea. So we have already in the introduction we have different paragraphs. So one of the paragraph focused on to narrow down the areas
Okay.
for the solar like for the at source installation, because we are trying to be propose and narrow down why we need a rooftop solar panels,
Mm,
because the distribution and transmission of the electricity due to the nature of the landscape, hilly area
okay.
covered with the snow covered most of part of the year, so they have a
Okay.
challenges. So rather than we transmit the electricity or distribute that up to that areas, we need a electric source at that particular locations. Fine, at source. So that's one of the reason the second part is we need to know those areas where policymakers, decision makers, and planners can think about those areas where they have a better position, better chances of introducing solar panels. Fine, so they can
Okay.
make it a policy kind of things, like those areas where they have in the better chance of the solar energy, and that can be used to convert into the electricity. So they need to promote that area. So it's basically more strategically we want to be proposed where we need to be direct those resources and introduce new interventions. So that's why we have already discussed one. So at this stage, we are just trying to be see the alignment of these objectives with
Then
respect
it's
to
good, sir.
the results we have produced so far.
Then it's perfect.
Okay, so now if we are agree the the research objectives and the results we produce so far are aligned and they are justify the kind of like to move to the next round. So the next portion of this paper, usually when we write down, so as I explained, is the introduction, and then usually we try to be finalize the results. So once this is done, so then the work is much easier. So we need to be document the methods. So in this case, what is our methodologies? Could you please move the method heading to the next page? And then we are going to be write down the how we will need to be break down those methods, like make different sections for the methods. So the usually there are two approaches. One is a narrative, like when we what are the way you achieve the results or your project, you explain it. Sometimes you want to be go more in like some top to bottom approach. So most important thing you want to be introduced first. So in this case, I'm proposing to start with the most important thing, which is your method, how to estimate the solar potential at the building rooftop. Okay, so first thing is we going to be explain overall strategy. Fine.
Yes.
Satar, you're going to be write down what we are going to be do. So first you need to explain in the beginning how we are going to be uh, open this methodology. So you can have one opening sentence where you can explain. So we are talking about the first overall the measuring approach, and then we are talking about the case study where we are going to apply this. So we are going to be apply in a hilly and
Mm-hmm.
tourism point of view. So this is the way you are going to be make a flow of your methods. Okay, and when you're talking about method, so you can explain the data sets beside wherever you mentions the different use of different data sets. So you can explain one additional sentence about the data source. And if you have prepared the data up to that level, then you take a little bit to pause, like hold the method and then explain the method of preparing the data sets and then go back to your main method. Okay,
Fine.
so this is the way first approach I would suggest, like you take the overall like starting from estimating the solar potential at the building footprint, the tool you're going to apply, and then different parameters and different data sets, and wherever you have the data sets, you're going to be explain a little bit on that area. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
so this is the way you will complete that methodology. So this is the first method section. Second part of the methodology is how you are going to be prepare the results. It's called analysis. Fine. So how you do the analysis. So first one is you summarizing the analysis. So you have a tables. So that's you going to be explained in just a short paragraph where you say like the data is at the end of the data is going to be stored into a database, and then we using
Mm-hmm.
the summaries and summarizing the results or descriptive statistics. In other words, using the Microsoft Excel pivot tool. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yes.
that's the way you can explain in a couple sentence. And then you can, if you want to be explain how you will normally connect the challenge of the large data sets, that will be interesting because the data is more than 1 million rows. So it means in this case, because it's not easily handled in Excel, so you have to be put into a database and then connect with the Excel externally. So just one line can be explained how you handle this thing. So the
So do we
second,
have to? So
yeah,
do we have to explain the procedure? Like we did this thing and then this thing. We followed these steps, or just we have to mention that we followed these things. Like we use Access to handle the data.
I think it's better to we just stick with the overview.
Mm-hmm.
So if people are interested to know the details and everything, they can contact us. But at this stage, we just need to be document how we develop those tables.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
What about mentioning the softwares and tools? Like,
Software
for
we will,
example, we made a layout on ArcGIS map, ArcMap, and about the Excel
that is the
for
part,
the
next
mapping.
part. So second part of this is first as a result, we prepare the tables and now we are doing the mapping. Okay. So then you can explain the mapping is done using arc map,
Yes, sir.
and where the most important thing is the categorization of the two things. You can explain the two categories. One is the building footprints. So you need to explain what is the building footprint eligibility or like kind of things we apply. So they have a dividing the whole building footprint into two categories. So that's you need to brief logically how you were proposing it. Okay,
Yes, yes,
and then that is your legend as well in the map. The second thing is you want to be using this definition and developing a aggregations up to the union console levels. So how union console data is prepared, that is the first part.
yes, sir.
And then you have a mapping variable. So your mapping variable is percentage of eligible buildings out of the total building in a union console.
Yes, sir.
Okay? So this is
Yes,
your
sir.
mapping variable. You need to talk about your mapping variable, and then finally, you need to talk about the categorize what is called the classification scheme you used to categorize this union consoles into a different classes. So that's methodology I think you which what method you use to categorize those classes.
Say standard deviation. We have
Okay,
find the standard deviation.
and the standard deviation with I think half standard deviation interval.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it means then you need to mention like just one or two lines where you see like those union consoles were classified using standard deviation classification scheme, and where a half standard deviation was used to create. Actually, it's a one standard deviation, but they start with the like interval around the mean is plus minus half half. So it's a
Yes, sir.
one standard deviation, but they because it's a mean value, and then the half standard deviation above and the half standard deviation low below that values that become one standard deviation around the mean value.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so then we have interval accordingly. So anything thus so you need to be explain this one into the method. So I think this is that's all you need to be explained in the methods.
Okay.
So Siddharth, do we need like are we going to miss anything here or missing anything or you think we need to be done like we need to finalize this layout of the methods?
So I have 2 to 3 questions. Like, do we have to, in summarizing tables, do we have to describe how the data should be read through these tables? And the second question is, sir, about the what about the fishnet layer? Do we have to describe that we have developed the fishnet layer to aggregate the results into the building footprint level? Do we have to describe that in methodology section?
So the first thing is about the uh, sorry, you're asking about describing the steps in the tables?
Yes. Do we have to describe how to read the table?
No, no, no. That is part of the results.
Okay.
So result is going to be so here we will talking about how we generate that table.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Fine, but we are not going
Yes.
to be talking about how to read it. So reading is in the result section.
Okay, sir.
So
Yes.
which are you already done. So
Mm-hmm.
we don't need to repeat it here.
Okay,
As well
fine.
as long as the fishnet, so definitely it's going to be the part of the method. That's why like in the beginning I say when you are going to be start your overall strategy, like you
Mm-hmm.
see, this is the tool you are going to use as a requirement of the tool. Like we did the different data sets we need, and each data set you need to be explained if you are using as it is raw data or you're going to be process it or
Mm-hmm.
prepare it for the analysis. So if you're using some method, so you need to be introduced. So fishnet you use to assign the some height, additional height
Mm-hmm.
to the pixels based on the building overlay.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. So
Yes.
that's you need to
Yes.
be explained like you don't need to go detailed, but you can explain like how you assign that information to the pixel first.
Mm-hmm.
Because the
Mm-hmm.
raw
Yes.
values, you're not using the raw pixel values for the like them data. So you adding a how many meters you add into the height.
Say 5 meter under the building footprints.
So
Yeah.
where the pixel and the building are overlap, so you added 5 meter into the elevation values.
Yes.
of those pixels. Fine, that's
Mm-hmm.
you need to explain. The second thing
Okay.
is when you have the uh, solar potential at the pixel level,
Mm-hmm.
then you are going to transfer back to the building. So then you use a fishnet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you need to explain how you will transforming that values. So
Okay.
definitely
Okay.
the first thing is running the tool,
Mm-hmm.
and then there are certain places where you need to be mentioned how you prepare the data. Either you taking a raw data or you are going to
Mm-hmm.
be processed. That you need to be see how you will adjust it. So this is the first draft. We tentatively we're thinking if we think like there is some like it's difficulty to explain or merge the multiple things in a one flow. So we'll definitely work on a different sections. Maybe we can
Yes.
rearrange it.
Okay.
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 So that's the way I will see like how you can include those information into the methods. So Abdullah, you have any
Mm-hmm.
suggestion?
No, I think that's pretty much it for the methodology, and it's fine for the overview, and we'll add things if you only start to write the paper.
Okay, Yusuf, you have another comment?
No, sir. No,
Okay,
sir. That's good.
okay, great, thank you. So at this stage, if you guys agree, so Satar is going to be draft and taking the text from the thesis and
Mm-hmm.
rearrange it and accordingly the way we have
Yes.
set it.
Okay.
Okay,
Fine. Yes.
okay. So I think